Right, let's get this started. Welcome, guys. Oh, hang on one sec. Forgot to move my soundproof curtain across. Yeah, so I'm going to drink some wine tonight, because why not? Let's say hello to everybody. So who we got here? We've got Prince Faze, Amok, Andy, Doxter, Red Fox, Mr. G, Prow7, Steps, Eldritch, who else? I think that's it. Old School Coder as well. Retro Steve. You're all gambling already. It's crazy. Right, let me add some points to you all. And CB meets as well. Lots of buffering tonight. Hopefully everybody got them. I know there's been some cases where people haven't got those. If you could just check you got the points. Yeah, so apparently my 5G contract runs out tomorrow. So hopefully it lasts all right through tonight. I've got a new SIM to put in tomorrow, but I'm not been impressed. I tried putting it in today, and the rate was terrible. I went from 450 or so down to 9 megabits per second. So hopefully it's all right, and hopefully it doesn't crash at midnight. Yeah. Cool. It looks like people have got their points. Actually, before we start, I will show you quickly what I started working on a little bit today. Which is the pick and mix editor. So I've not really done a lot today, just allowed you to kind of change colors on the background and on the multicolor pieces, and of course draw into the map as well. And when you place pipes, so if I try and place a pipe in the middle, it won't let me do it. But if I place I can place pipes like this, and it will tell me when I reach the limit. And delete pipes like this as well. And it has some limitations. The limitations that are in the game are put into this as well. So I can't start a pipe there, but I can there, for instance. I can't start a downward pipe over nothing. And I can't start an upwards pipe that's obstructed. You can only go up to the top of the screen. So it's kind of the work has been started now, so it's just a matter of time, really. I'll try and get some more time on it tomorrow. So yeah, that's gonna, hopefully I'll get this ready for Saturday's stream, all going well. But yeah, I've been doing that a little bit today. I haven't done an awful lot today, but is there any languages I'm not able to program with? Well, I haven't tried them all, so I don't know. Maybe I can use the stuff I need to use. So not had any problems so far. Russian, yeah, I can't program in Russian. This is true. Okay, so what I'm going to do tonight is we're going to look at getting the particle system in. So I'd already done a particle system as a kind of practice for this, basically. So I'm going to take that code and I'm going to try and drop it into here. Just make sure that this is all running. Oh, I also, for anybody that was testing the code out for Pick and Mix, I committed the code last night, early this morning. I couldn't, I slept kind of early yesterday evening and then woke up about 2 a.m. and just decided to get up and do some coding. So I did a little bit of shuffling around of memory in Pick and Mix and realized I hadn't committed it from the weekend. So I've committed the new version with my kind of refactorings in there as well. So that's available on GitHub now as well. All right, let's just make sure this builds and runs. I've lost my Streamlabs information overlay, so I don't know why that's not there. Do I need to turn on the SID request as well? Sounds very quiet in my ear for some reason. Okay, no SID requests run. Good. So I'll just have to keep an eye on stuff in the channel, and hopefully if I can hear the alerts, because I haven't tested them because I couldn't figure out where it was. So okay, yeah. So we'd got to this point where we had the ship in place, and moving around with the multiplexer here as well. And this is the amount of time it's using to do the multiplexer sort. So one idea, I think steps or four I can't remember, it was somebody mentioned it was adjusting the sprite multiplexer on a screen by screen basis, because obviously some screens are going to need more sprites than others. So that's something I'll implement once we get multiple screens in. But tonight I want to put the particle effects in, and if I've got time I want to add the directional firing as well. Hey guys, who's just joined? Quadrisul, hey, and Steps as well. Right, let's have some of this wine. So I have drank a little bit of this today, probably why I slept. This is Cata Roja Tempranillo, which is about as close as you'll get to a Rioja without it actually being a Rioja. It's not the best wine in the world, but they didn't have my Rioja in stock, so they sent me this instead. Hey Zendari, welcome to the stream, dude. Yeah, the joining 10,000 went out already. If you were in there, I think you were. I couldn't tell you, to be honest. I did it pretty much when I started. So, are you still super low? Have you got no points left? Oh, you've got some now. Okay, that's good. Yeah, okay, cool. So so we're going to do that first tonight. We're going to get the particle system in. So what I want to try and do as early as possible in this game, as early on as possible in this game, is get as much of the stuff that I think is going to eat into our the rest of the time done and out of the way. So that's going to be the sprite multiplexer, which we've done. Then next up is going to be the particle effects, and then the player shooting as well. So these are the three things I think are going to take quite a lot. Music will take a bit as well, but I'm not too fussed about music because it doesn't necessarily have to happen in V-blank. It can happen midway down the screen or something. That's absolutely fine. What I'll probably do is when the first sprites are drawn in this area up here, that's probably where I'll trigger the music so it's consistent. Because what you don't want is you don't want to drift of the music. You want to kind of trigger the music roughly at the same point on every frame. If it starts drifting up and down the frame, then you'll get some kind of weird effects, weird phasing effects as music plays at kind of slightly variable frame rate. So okay, so let's open up another window and let's go and have a look at the code from where was it? Particles test. There we go, from the dissect stream the other night. So just a reminder what this is doing. So this was all in one file. So we probably need to strip this down. I can't remember which one is which because I seem to have two in here. So let's take a look. I want the latest one with the full physics in, basically. Yeah, this one. So this tune reminds me as well. So I've been getting an increasingly large amount of it seems very quiet in my ear. I wonder if it's the headphone. No. I've been getting an increasingly large amount of copyright kind of, not strikes, but copyright claims. So what I might have to do soon is compile a list of the tunes that end up causing that. and kind of stop them from being requested, unfortunately. And this is one of them. Just because otherwise, what I have to do is I have to put a blank. I have to blank out this track basically. No, it's fine because I mean nobody knows what tunes are going to be pulled up by it, but this is one of them, and this is pulled for the melody. So Sony have claimed copyright on this because of the melody, which is stupid. Especially when these videos are 3 or 4 hours long. No, don't worry about it. It's not anybody's fault. It's just something I was thinking I'm gonna maybe do to try and reduce that. So never had a problem with Airwolf music. Never had a problem with Airwolf music. It's just a handful of tunes that show up and cause issues. I mean, I've got Kim Wilde as my sub alert, and that's never cropped up. So it's just certain companies are trolling the thing. So all right, so let's try and get this in. So we need some 0-page values, so we can copy those over. So let's set this up with multiple views. And temporarily, I'm just going to grab all the code from this one and just put it in here. So this is where I'm trying to grab the code from. Let's put it here, actually. And here's our 0-page here. Okay, so let's have a look what we actually need in here. So we do definitely need these 0-page values here. Now, the particle system is using a clear particle setup, which is using some of the 0-page, which is fine. I'm gonna continue to do that, but let's get the basic stuff in first. So what I need to do, I think, is I need to add another virtual page here. So this is what I have at the moment. So let me copy these values in. Okay, so the way this works is I should probably put notes next to these as well. So Monty on the run, very good. They will pry Airwolf from my cold dead hands. Yeah. I'll buy Sony out next week and close them down. Yeah. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to clear this number of particles. Now, 32 is a little bit much, so I'm going to reduce it down to 16. And basically, it needs to be minus this value as well, because we're going to put it just before this. So it's kind of a bit long-winded here, but hopefully this will work, and we'll get a better view of how much space we've got when we run. I'm not too fussed if we don't use too much of the I didn't even see who hosted there. I don't have my proper stream elements thing. Let me bring up stream elements on here. Thank you for the host, whoever that was. It was probably Hayes, I think. I don't know where that app's gone. It's just disappeared for some reason. I missed that as well. Let's see, activity feed. There you go. No, that's not it either. Dashboard, no. Yeah, I have no idea. I have no idea who that was. I'm gonna guess that's Andy or Proud7. All right. Yeah, see, I'm completely guessing. It's not good. It's so annoying. I don't know where that thing has gone at all. Can't find anything in here to tell me what's going on either, which is really useful. Thanks, Stream Elements. Or was it Streamlabs? Maybe I can't remember which one has the. Come on, log me in. Recent events. There we go. Okay, yeah, Proud7. Thanks for the host, Proud7. Thanks for the host, Andy. Okay, I'll have to keep that screen on if I want to keep an eye on it. So it's a bit annoying, but we'll cope, I think. Can the SIDS go up? Yeah, no worries. Maybe that's why they were. Maybe that's why they were different. I hope we have visual feedback on enemy hits implemented. If it's not in the game, it's probably not going to be implemented. However, I think the nature of the reduced particles and stuff means that it'll probably be a bit more obvious. I don't know. Well, I'll have to speak. I'm not gonna implement something new to the game, no matter how needed it is, without sign off from the original author. Some things we just have to compromise on. But then there's other things. Everything's white already. How can I add a white flash? I get it though. I mean, I kind of feel the same myself. Then it needs more. But I'll have a word with Andy, and I can't remember the dev's name, which is really sad. Should know it, but I can't remember his name. God damn it. All right, so this is the section I need, all of this section. So I'm just going to copy this entire section and drop it into a new file. In fact, I can probably just call this a new file. Actually, no. I'm just gonna copy it in. Okay, so I do need all of that. I probably need to move those tables somewhere as well. So I need to there. So I'm going to cut that, and I'm going to create a new folder, correct particles, new file, call it okay, cool. So we've already got powers of 2 here. I'm going to put this label in it as well, just so I don't have to go and find that. Put the reverse powers of 2 in here as well. I'm still going to have to find it anyway, aren't I? So let's just do it this way. Bit of Airwolf. Right, okay, powers of 2 are not being used here. Oh, the races. Nope, sorry. Let me... there you go. Airwolf, indeed. I keep forgetting to play Airwolf for August. Oh, if you're lucky, Factor 5 will cash in and do an Airwolf re-release without actually adding anything. So disappointed with that Turrican, really am. I was really looking forward to the new Turrican being a new Turrican, but unfortunately it's just the old versions. And really there's only 2 versions that I consider to be actual Turrican games, which is Turrican 1 and 2. Turrican 3 is not a Turrican game. I'm sorry, it's not. It might have Turrican in it, but it's nothing like the other games in my opinion. So it doesn't count. Okay. So the only thing I need to do now is call these from the right places. So just looking at this, characters are here. Oh, and we need this particle system here as well. Okay. Okay, that can go down here. That's fine. Okay, at the moment this is just setting some random particles up based on the screen address here. So I need to change that. That needs to be C0. This is not going to matter too much because it's going to be changed, but I need to make sure that all the stuff in here is actually acting on the right area of memory. So here, for instance, what's it actually doing here? Particle. See, this worries me a bit now. Oh, because this is the character set update. Okay, so this is okay. So let me put particles. Now, where on earth did we load the character set onto? So I think that's loaded in. Let's have a look at the game loader. Okay, so we load character set into C800. So that means the end of the character set is at D00. We also need to make sure that those are actually loaded in. So this is probably keep the particles in the same place as the rest, but I'm going to leave it like that, I think. Okay, so this is all right. I need to figure out why it's doing this, but I'm going to leave this in for now, so I can hard code this in. This is just I need to clear the blank character in the char set, otherwise it overrides it for some reason. Okay, there's one here as well. Clear particles. So I can change this a little bit as well. So if I do this as yeah, that should be fine. We'll soon find out if this works or not and how much room it takes. I'm not too worried about memory on this because it's loading from cartridge, so as long as it's not taking like all the memory up, then I'm all right. Madball September. WizKids. No, I don't remember that. I remember Billy Whiz in Beano or whatever it was. Was it Beano or Dandy? It was in one of those. I don't think it was that. Okay, I think that's fine now. So that means we can start doing this stuff here. So we need to init and draw the particles. That's the first thing we need to do. So keep the game loader on there. Actually just keep that as it is over there. Game loop starts here. This is the main loop. So this is where we do the setup. So I think it's safe to do init and draw the particles here. Let's do that. Oops, that kind of went horribly wrong. Okay. And then we just need to do these things every frame. So let's copy that. And this is our game loop. Okay, so this is our non-IRQ game loop code. This is where it should go. It's these two here that need to be done first. And then the update can happen anywhere. So I'm going to put the update here. And those all need particles adding on. I mean, let's have a look. Let's see if this works. Okay, we've got a few issues here. Okay, so first of all, these virtual labels don't work, so that's a bit frustrating. Do I have to put that after, maybe? Yeah, okay, let's do it after. It needs to be in a very specific order, this. Okay, so it's complaining. Oh, because I've done the wrong thing here. This should be this is fluid particles data. It doesn't really matter what I call that because it's the same as this here, basically. So I think that's fine. No, still got some issues. Okay, so init and draw particles are wrong here. So that's because in the game loop here, this should be particles. So, and then there's a few places in the particle system itself where it's actually referencing this. So I'm actually going to put this back, which seems a little bit weird, but just for consistency with the code, just going to wrap this block in a label. There we go, that's better. Okay, so interestingly, it doesn't print out any of those 0-page things anyway. Oh yeah, it does. There we go. Okay, so it's not too bad. It's not taking too much space up. Okay, so the particles are there, but they're showing weirdly at the top. Now, this is probably just because we're not displaying the byte 0 here. So I can fix that just quickly as a temporary measure. Try to think the easiest way to do this. Actually, if I look in the loader in here, so we import level tiles in here, and then if I just, well, that should fill the screen with zeros. That should prevent that from happening, hopefully. And then we'll check out the particles and pew pew. Yeah, we'll check out the raster time being used for this, and then see what we can do with the particles. Oh no, it's still showing them on the top, but they are the particles are kind of working in here, which is good. I'm not sure why they're showing up here though. They shouldn't. So this is probably shown because there's a particle down here which is being rendered into this. I'm going to drop this into the debugger actually. Projects. Oops. I just want to see what's going on the top half of that screen. It could just be that it's copying some weird values into there, which is fine. You can see some of the characters are being printed up here for some reason. So I'll just go and have a look at that in memory. Oh no, we have 0. Oh no, we do have some other values in here. And for some reason they are being drawn up here when they shouldn't. So the first thing I want to do is I want to change the particles that they disappear when they hit the edges rather than bounce off, which will save us a few cycles. But I want to add some extra debug stuff in so we can actually see how long things are taking. So I can't remember any of the debug stuff that I put in, so let's have a look. So I just do board and null. Okay, so if I do yeah, I think them. Oh, yeah, maybe if I stop them appearing on row 0. That's a good point, actually, Andy. Thank you. So in a moment, it's just randomly placing them. So let me change the position. Yeah, if I just do this here, that should kind of hopefully solve that issue. Actually, maybe not, because it's probably going to wrap round, so it's not going to make any difference actually, is it at all? Tell you what, there you go. Now they'll all appear somewhere in the middle. Yeah, that's definitely it. Thank you, Andy. Oh, wow. Okay, there's a lot of racetime gone somewhere in the last phase. So this is the update particles. Wow, that's heavy. What the hell? It wasn't that heavy before. Interesting. It hasn't broke the multiplexer. Well, the multiplexer will actually have an effect on this, but it shouldn't have that much of an effect on it. So let's have a look. Okay, we're still getting particles appearing on the top line. So let's have a look at these. All right, this should, well, let's make them disappear if they hit the edges. I think that's probably the first thing we can do. Because at the moment they're bouncing, so so hang on, this is oh, I should load it. Okay. Well, if we don't, I just want to make sure that it is that loop that's taking too long. I think it probably is. I mean, it's obvious that we're not going to be able to run all of these particles at this speed. There is definitely something weird going on that top row. I don't know what it is. I don't know why it thinks it needs to draw up there, but it is doing. Okay, but we have a set of particles kind of fairly barren to this middle section, which is where I've kind of asked it to draw them. I don't know why it's drawing these ones up here. Time-wise, that's not too bad, actually. I could probably mess around a little bit. So if I make them flash a little bit less, it's going to use more zero-page memory. By quite a bit, actually, but zero page I'm not that fussed about, because the main things that I want to use zero page for the multiplexer and the particles, and this actually still isn't using that much. I mean, we've still got half a zero page left over here even after all of that, so that's not too bad. And they look a bit better like that. Oh, actually, they don't flash there anymore, which is interesting. But you can see how much extra time it's taken to draw those as well. So I think 16 is probably the right. So these are the values that I worked out. The higher the value, the more raster time they take. The higher this value here, the more flickering they do. So I'm going to go for 48 particles with 16 zones that they can be drawn on the screen. Hopefully that should reduce those down quite a bit. Yeah, that's more acceptable. So my only concern here is why these are appearing here. Because also, oh no, they don't. I thought they were matching these patterns, because they almost kind of match these patterns, but not quite. So again, the number of particles on a screen is something that can be adjusted. So we can increase the number of particles when there's less sprites, or we can reduce the number of sprites and the number of particles if we need more stuff on the screen. So the cool thing about these two things is they do have a variable component to them. No tickets for the next giveaway. Next giveaway will be mid-September or so. So just hold on to your channel points till then. I'm toying with the idea of creating a list of books, and then giving the winner the choice up to a certain value from that list. Then that way, people like Andy, who have pretty much every book under the sun already, if he wins, he can pick the books he doesn't have. And it means that just because Andy has a book doesn't mean everyone else can doesn't get a choice for that book. So I think I'm going to create a short list of books on various topics, and then let the winner pick which books they want. So, which I think is probably the fairest way, because there's no point giving you some books that you don't care about, really. So, okay, so I want to figure this out. This is bothering me. Then when I've figured that out, we'll work out why the update routine is so slow. The flickering is, I could also do with, I can't get it on the Ultimate yet. The flickering is also something that's not going to be as obvious on real hardware. It looks a problem on the stream because of the way the stream works, and it looks pretty much the same on my screen as well, just because of the update rate. But this up here, this is what's bothering me at the moment. So let's go and have a look in the not in that one. Oh, I just need to open the debugger. It should automatically load this time. And it did not. Okay. Oh, because now I need to do. Oh, right. Okay. A bit of Turrican. Okay, so hopefully, if I just reopen this, it hopefully should work. If not, then yeah, there we go. Okay. I need to work out how to get these files onto the Ultimate as a quick test as well. Oh, see, I'm not seeing them up there this time. Interesting. Is that just coincidence or like just luck? Because they're definitely there on this one. Let me turn the monitor on. Let me see if I just clear those values if it does anything. So if I just fill from there to there with 0. Oh, yeah, it goes. Okay, so it's just down to the values that are already there because these aren't being cleared properly, which is fine. That's all right because we're gonna have a HUD that's drawn up here anyway. So okay, so that's pretty good. I'm quite happy with the timings for these. As I say, the multiplexer will be adjusted based on a screen by screen basis. So this will be adjustable, and we can do the same with the particles as well. We'll just have a maximum number of particles. Let me try 64 particles again, just to see if that handles okay. So I might just create a very quick HUD file in here, which just draws blank space on the top, just to get rid of that flicker. Yeah, so even with 64, that's not bad at all. So that's 64 particles in there. Okay, let's create a little HUD file. I'm going to put it into the game. This is just so that we can clear that area at the top. So for now, it's just going to be very, very simple. Just like that, just to clear that. Just to clear that area out. Which means I need to add it to the loader. Doesn't really matter where I put this in. I'll put it in this bit. Try and keep it consistent with the kind of external and internal files. Do need to keep an eye on my messages tonight. Something. Okay. All right. That's loaded in. So let's put the game loop over here as well. So in the game loop, all I need to do now is just initialize that as well. So I can do that here. It doesn't really matter where I do that. Right, that should, I can get rid of that file now. I don't need the original code for that. So this should hopefully now, if it's going to load, which it is, clear that area at the top for us. That is not actually the wine I'm drinking tonight. I should probably change that, but I can't be bothered right now. This is the wine I'm drinking. It's Tempranillo grape wine, so it's very similar to a Rioja. It's just not made in Rioja. Well, no distractions. Drink so much wine you can't keep up. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so let's have a look at this update routine because there's definitely something odd going on in the update routine, which is making it take a long time. So this is how many particles we can update in one go. So let's just turn that off a sec and let's have a look. So at the moment, this is going to try and update 32 particles at once. Oh, I need to be on that file. Really? I need to be on that file to make this work? Fine. But you'll see that that is quite a lot of extra time. Like the processing time for that is insane. So obviously that's way too much. Now, some of this is the multiplexer. So if I was to turn the multiplexing bands on, you'll see that the multiplexer takes some of that time up, but it doesn't leave us with enough time to do anything. So that's not good at all. Which means we need to reduce that somehow. So the first thing that we can do, obviously, is we can reduce the number of particles that are processed in one frame. So that's what this is doing here. I am going to change my make.bat just to actually no, I'll leave it as it is. I was going to do it with hard coded absolute paths, but I can't be bothered trying to work out what they all are. Being a bit lazy tonight. So this should probably half the amount of raster time taken for those particles, but the particles will now update. So in fact, it goes way less than half. That's pretty good. But now the particles are slower. But slow particles is fine, because if you see the game, the particles are quite slow in it anyway. The other thing we're doing that we probably shouldn't be doing, and this is why the raster time increases so much here, is we're doing some bounce mechanics here when it hits the edges. So what I want it to do instead is I want it to just the particles to disappear. So that's going to be one of the that's going to be one of the compromises we're going to make here. Is we're going to have the particles disappear a lot quicker, partly because we don't have as many. So if they start bouncing around everywhere, we're going to run out of particles very quickly. But mainly because this is going to give us a performance boost by doing this as well. So so let's have a look to see where that's happening. I need to remember. I only did this 2 weeks ago, so 2 or 3 weeks ago, so I should remember this by now. Okay, so this is increasing. This is the bounce here. Okay. And is it as simple as just removing? No, I think that's actually storing it. Hang on. What's neg done? So once equal to here. Okay, so that's the bounce one direction. So what we can actually, I'm going to keep this in, and what I'm going to do instead is this is where it reverses. So what I'm going to do here instead is I'm going to store and I can't remember how we check. Ow, the hell. I'm in sharp in the arm of my chair. I can't remember how we check if the particle's active or not. Oh, the MSB here. Okay, so if that's 0, so I'm just going to set the particle MSB to 0. That should prevent it from, like so, I think. Is it comma X? Yeah, it would be comma X here. We're not using X anywhere else. And this so this draws it to the screen. Okay. So we'll do the same on this side. Basically, just going to take everything out up to the skip, which is not skip in here for some reason. Why is it skip here and not skip on the other one? So this is X movement. This is bouncing in the X position. This is gravity, which we probably don't need to apply. I think we will set these individually on the particles. So I'm going to remove the gravity from here. Just have a look what effect that's had. Just need to do this in parts because hey Acmafin. Better late than never, eh? Okay, yeah. So the raster time is a lot less now, and things are being removed when they hit the edges, so you can see the raster time dropping considerably. They're still bouncing off the floor and off the ceiling, but when it does the X movement, it's not bouncing it. Actually, it's not bouncing off the ceiling properly anymore. But this is a promising sign. So let's go ahead and remove the bounce from it as well. So this is the bounce here. And I think if I just remove all of this and replace it with that should have the same effect. Let's give that a try. And then I'll go for a quick break. we'll try tweaking some of the values as well, so we can see just as a temporary, because the flicker makes it kind of hard to tell what's going on properly. But yeah, this is fine. Okay, because what we can do now is we can make the particles come out of the back of here as well, which is going to be a ship specific thing. So one thing I would like to try and sort out is that they shouldn't flicker if there's only two. So we've only got two particles on the screen now, so they shouldn't flicker. They should draw consistently. So I'm going to take a quick break, guys. When I come back, we'll take a look at that. We'll see if we can get the flickering to only occur when there's lots and lots of particles, so that we can kind of we can improve the quality of it. All right, I'll be back in about 2 or 3 minutes, guys. Right back. And I'm back. Who's that old school coder and Steps? Well done. Steps, you're actually making some money this time. Was that profit? Yeah, you only bet on 2 races then. Well done, profit. Okay, so first of all, I want to stop the flickering. Let's get that working first. Quick see who that was. Thank you for the follow. A Mad Genius. Welcome to the stream. Okay, so we can get rid of this now because we don't care. We're not going to do the update, like gravity updates inside this routine. We're only going to do them on particles that require them, because not all particles require them. Most of the particles just burst outwards and don't have any gravity. The only ones that have gravity are the ones that come out the back of the ship. So we'll do that separately, which we'll try and add in a minute, actually, when we've got the flickering done, before I do the shooting. I might spend this stream just tweaking the particles if there's not enough time. So yeah, no problem, my genius. Welcome along. Okay, so this is one thing I do want to try and figure out. I'm going to just remove that and see what happens. See if it's still an issue. You'll see why this code is in here. Dot's going for 1 million. Oh, he's closing in on it as well. Ah, see, it's not actually a problem in this one. That's good. Okay, so I'll leave that. I'll leave the code commented, but I'll leave it out for now. I maybe fix that with some of the other code that I was doing. There's still some optimization I can probably do around some of these, so I might look at doing them at some point. For instance, here, this is 12 cycles. In fact, let's do this quickly now. And this is a 0 page, so this would be 3. Yeah, see, that's less straight away. So that's one optimization I can do. I might not even need this clear carry bit as well. Oh, actually, that was on 0 page when it was just 5, so 6. That's about the same, actually. Thank you for the cheer, Amok. Very much appreciated, dude. And some more emotes for everybody there. Wow, these are these hyper emotes, aren't they? Yeah. Limited time only emote. Well, that's kind of silly. Yeah, I'm not sure if this has actually saved any cycles, but I'm going to leave it in anyway. It probably hasn't actually. It would if I didn't need this, but I don't know if I need this or not. Because we do... see if there's any comparisons before this. Yeah, see, carry is potentially set here. Bunch of carry set char selected. So actually that doesn't need to be there. Actually, looking at this, it would be less than that value. But actually, I don't think we need that clear carry bit as well, so I'm going to get rid of that. Quickly test that, because that's a nice couple of cycles saved. Not a lot, but it all adds up. More wine. Thank you, Duxter, for the bits. Appreciate it, dude. Oh, no, okay, that went horribly wrong there, so let me undo that. Just make sure I haven't broken things here. I did load IQ up again. Oh, why's my stream showing as that? Oh, no, it's correct. All right. All right, that's fine again. So you can see this one particle here that's not moving. This is what I want to sort out. I don't want these to flicker. When there's only one particle, it shouldn't be flickering. So if there's less than it renders in one frame, then it shouldn't be flickering. So that's the next thing here. So that's to do with this draw particles thing. So what happens is it every time it checks a particle, it jumps to skip, and this particle count should get reduced. But what I think I need to do, yeah, here. So it checks that we've reached the maximum number of particles. If we have, then it resets. Otherwise, it jumps to here, and this decreases the particle count. Now, the particle count should only really decrease if the particles were acted upon. So part of me thinks I should maybe be doing this in a slightly different way. So what I'm going to do is a jump to skip here. That's because it's removing that particle. So I'm going to put this here instead, and I'm going to put I'm going to call it skip particle counts here. Oh. No more subs for Shalan. Okay. Wait, let me just say hello to the raiders and then I'll take a look at what's going on there. Thank you for the raid, Amiga Live. Welcome to the stream, dude. Oh, nice. I can see myself on that camera. How are you doing? What have you been doing tonight? Always interesting to find out what others have been doing, especially in the retro community. No one can sub. Okay, that's strange. There's certainly no reason why people shouldn't be able to sub. Let me just check my channel. Oh yeah, the sub button's gone. Has it gone for everybody? Let me try another channel. Oh, there's no sub on any channel. Subs seem to be broken. Yeah, it's gone on. Yeah, exactly. It's gone on all of the channels. Don't know why that is. That's very strange. Oh, well, no subs tonight then. You can't sub nor neither offer sub. Very strange. Still got it on mobile. Yeah, it must be a desktop thing. I imagine they've done some update on Twitch on the website side and broken things. Good night, Sendarek. Thanks for joining, dude. Okay, right. So we're going to skip the particle countdown here, which is this bit here. But at the same time, we need to make sure that we don't try and do too much, because when we get down to 0, this is going to go into an infinite loop otherwise. So the way I'm going to do that, I think, is I'm going to particle fetch is the value here. So hopefully that doesn't get set until here, which it doesn't. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to compare x to particle fetch, branch if equal to n. So that means if we've gone all the way round, we'll skip this. Then we also need to check this value is not 0. So hopefully that should solve the issue. Let's have a look. So what we're looking for is, as the number of particles decreases, that the flickering should decrease as well. Which is exactly what we're seeing there now. So that's perfect. Cool. So as the number of particles decreases, the flickering decreases as well, which is perfect, which is what we want. Raster time-wise, we're still looking pretty decent. Bear in mind, there is a lot of raster stuff going on down here with these sprite multiplexings. Obviously, as we reduce the number here, we'll reduce the time it takes here as well. So let's start then by trying to add a particle into the trail of this ship. So so what we're going to do is we're going to reserve a number of particles. So we'll use the first, let's say, 6 particles in the particle list, which we have down here. Now this should be quite easy, because all we really need to do is work out where on the screen we are, and it should be able to draw them. So let me just put these back to 0, so everything starts off as 0. And we have delta y and delta x as well, so we can add a value in which will emulate kind of well, it's a direction. This is our directional stuff, and we can increase delta y as we go along to simulate gravity. So let's start by just trying to work out where the ship is on the screen. So we've got a player thing here, but I'm going to create a new one in game called collision, because this is going to be the file that's responsible for grabbing those positions on the screen. And we'll be using it in the player routine to grab the actual position of the exhaust on the ship. So let me add that to the loader. Are you using fractional for the particles that restricts to? Yeah, I'm using fractional for the particles. Because the particles can go in any direction. We're not using fractional so we're only using them for the deltas. Where is it? Oh no, we do have fine x. We do have fine x and fine y. But I think these aren't fractional, but these are fractional. I need to think about how that's working. Maybe these are fractional. But it's not 8 directions. It does. You can see with the version I had up a second ago. Can't see it on this one. They do go in all directions, not just 8 directions. I need to have a look at that actually. Let's just check. Yeah, might need to do some adjustments around that, but I think it does allow me to do more than 8 directions. Well, we'll see in a minute anyway. Because we do have a fine movement value, which we could probably use as the fraction. But so there's two values for the position of the particles. There's the actual screen position that it's being drawn in, and then there's the fine movement inside that. So that's 8 pixels in either direction within there. We could make that fractional if it's not already. It may be by making sure we just use the upper 3 bits for the fine value, and then the lower 5 bits as the fractional value, and that would solve that issue. But I think it's probably all right as it is. We'll soon see anyway. All right, let me add this collision in here. Okay, so collision is quite simple. All we need to do, all we really need here is to get a screen address from sprite coordinates, from 2 sets of coordinates. So the way I'm going to do that is quite simple. I'm going to create a 0 page location in here, which is going to hold our final value. The reason I'm doing it in 0 page is because generally you want to do these with some kind of 0 page indexed addressing at some point. So it's good place to have it. Thank you for the follow, Codemic. Welcome to the stream. Apologies for anybody that is trying to hit the sub button. It's unfortunately for some reason not working tonight on anybody's channel. So, but that's fine. That's fine. Oh my god, this wine! Even though this wine isn't great, it's going down quite. I do have another bottle, but it's for Saturday. I'm not gonna waste it tonight. So the only other routine I think is going to take some raster time away, a significant chunk of raster time away, is two actually, the player shooting routine, which I'm hoping won't be too bad because it doesn't need to do a redraw over anything. It's not going to be fractional within the character. It's just going to be drawing to a position on the screen, and that's it. And the other one is the music routine. So if we can get those 2 things in the next couple of streams, we'll have a better idea what we've got left. So not waste it tonight. I mean, I don't want to have to buy another bottle. I'm not going to drink it tonight. Okay, so collision. All right, so we want to add a value in here. So I'm just going to call this collision lookup. So this is going to be our screen address basically for whatever collision we decide. So it's going to be the result of calling a function in here. So this is going to be get collision lookup or something. Let's be consistent with the naming. Okay, it's capitals. Okay. So here we need to pass in an X and Y position for the sprite. Now we can pass in a half value for the sprite, or we can pass in the full value for the sprite. I don't, for the purposes of working out where it is on the screen, there's no reason to pass in the full 9-bit value. You may as well pass in a halved value for that. So we'll pass in X and Y. So X equal half X position in sprite space, and Y equals Y position in sprite space. So we want to convert these values into screen space coordinates. So the easiest way to do this is just to, first of all, change the values, and then use a lookup table to grab those positions. So we've already got some tables in here. So we need to add in screen LSB and screen MSB. Hopefully we've got constants for screen RAM, which we do. So we can use screen RAM as a lookup here. And then we just do this. We just fill 25. And for LSB, we want the lower part of screen RAM plus 28 times I. And this is grabbing a row. So actually, let's call it screen row so it makes more sense. Because the actual X position across the screen is something different. Okay, and then this will be, who's that? Thank you for the follow, Shadow. Welcome to the stream, dude. Hope you're doing well. Okay, cool. So, so we've got the upper byte and lower byte of the rows for each row in the screen, and it's based on whatever we set screen RAM to. So, if we want to move screen RAM around, we can do. So now we need to work out what these positions are. So we'll start with the X position. So we'll transfer that into the accumulator. So sprite space starts at 0 in the border on the left hand side. So the first thing we need to do is we need to subtract the border. Now we're using half values here. So the border is 24 wide. So in half hours, that'd be 12. So let's subtract 12 from this. And that will leave us with the sprite space relative to the left-hand border. So the next thing we need to do then is divide by 8. But because we're already halved, we only need to divide by 4. So we will shift to the right twice. And that should give us, now the accumulator now contains the X position of the screen. So I'm going to put that back into the X register. And now we'll do the same with the Y. So the Y register contains the full Y position. So this isn't divided by 2. The border is 50, so we need to subtract 50, which is the top border. And then we need to divide by 8. And now we have, now we have the Y position in the accumulator. So now we know what row we're on. We can actually look up the screen row from here. So what we do, actually, we don't really need to do any, we probably should do something with the X. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to store the X. I'm going to use gtemp. We can use that here. I'm going to store that there. So these variables, these global temps, these should only be used if they're used in a function and then discarded. So as long as no other routine is called, like I can't do, for instance, I can't use it and then do a jump subroutine because that routine may call it. But if I'm just using it in this function and then I don't need it outside of that function, that's going to be fine. So the audience is on edge. I'm so annoyed with the Turrican thing. I really am. Will this really work? They whispered. What are we on about here, DMX? Are you just on about this crazy code? Okay, so I'm going to load now. I mean, everyone is quiet here. They're all just waiting for the next race. That seems to be what happens now in this stream. So I'm going to load that comma Y. And then I'm going to add our gtemp value here. And then I'm going to store that in our 0 page collision lookup plus 0. And then I can do the same with MSB, and I just need to add 0 to this and then store that collision lookup plus 1. So there we go. That's basically it. We could save some cycles here by not using the X value here. So in fact, I'll do that. I will change that to the accumulator. Then I don't have to do that. And it also makes it a bit easier on the other side because we're going to have to halve this value anyway. So this way we don't have to then transfer it. So we're saving on 4 cycles or so in there. So yeah, mess chat out from here. It's still early evening. It's unlike you guys, it's early evening here and I'm still at work. Oh god, sorry Zerful. Trying to follow channel for once. Okay, cool. So this should, let me just indent that. I always like it to be indented twice inside a block like this in case I need to write a label. This keeps the indentation nice, and I'm trying to make this relatively well organized, at least better organized than. I like to improve it slightly every time I do a game. So every time we do a new game, we improve it slightly. Okay. Okay, so I should have the lookup now. So let's go and have a look. We should have. This is control. This is init. So control is actually. Well, let's have a look at the game loop. What have we got in here? So player control. Here we go. So I'm going to do player exhaust here. So we can use the information we've got in the multiplexer data stuff to grab these values. So we need to set the Y value to be the Y position. So we'll just grab that should be fine. And we're going to call collision get collision lookup. So the only thing we need to do is grab the accumulator stuff here. So the easiest way to do this is to grab the upper byte here and shift that to the right, and then grab the lower byte and roll that to the right. So the reason I shift the upper byte is to fill the carry flag if it's set. So if this is set, we basically set the carry flag. This is only ever going to be 1 or 0. This is going to set the carry flag if this is 1 or 0, and this is going to then half the value in the lower byte, and it's going to make sure that if the carry flag is set, that carry flag gets pulled in. So if the value is say 100 in hex, then when we half this, we're gonna, this is 1 up here and 0 down here. So halving this is going to be 0, but that would be wrong. But because we've moved this into the carry flag, when we roll, instead, we're going to end up with 80, which is half of 100 in hex anyway. Okay, so at this point now we have we should have the character that's pointed to by the sprite at that location. So I'm going to just test it by I'm going to load the accumulator with 1, and load Y with 0, and then I'm going to store that at what was it called? Collision lookup. Okay, so what this is going to do, hopefully, is it's going to draw a character where our sprite is. Now, it's going to be in the top corner of the sprite, so we need to adjust that to make it fit with the exhaust, which means changing this data a little bit here. And obviously, this data is going to change depending on whether you're facing left or right. So this is where we'll do the changes. But for now, let's just make sure that this is working. Okay, let's give that a test. So there are some small exceptions to this that we'll have to add into the collision, which is if the sprite is in the border already. Don't know why that's failed. Then these values are not going to be correct. Because if the sprite is in the border, then it's going to read incorrect values for these, and it's going to read like the next line. So we need to make sure we cap it to the edges. Which should be easy enough, but we'll do that when we get to it. So trying to keep up particle stuff is blowing your mind. Okay, so as I move along, so that looks to be correct now. It's drawing exactly where the top of the sprite is. So that's good. That's good. Okay, so what we need to do now is we need to move this position down so it's at the exhaust. So going this way, it's quite simple, but going this way, it's going to be behind a bit. So you see if I go down to this down here, and see where it's kind of ahead of the sprite here, whereas if I'm down here, it is kind of behind the sprite. So let's see if we can move it down to be coming out of the tail here. So dot correct them. Okay, so player exhaust. So first thing we need to do is probably add some values to this, because if we look, it was probably about 16 lines out or so. So I'm going to add 16 to it and then transfer it to Y. So hopefully that should bring it down now. It should be in line with the exhaust, or close enough anyway. But it's never going to be exactly spot on. So I probably need to move it a little bit less, because I'd spend quite a lot of time in a row before it moves. Okay, so let's do 12. We'll get it working one way, and then we'll make it work the other way as well. So okay, cool. So as I move up, yep, that's kind of seems right. And as I move down, yeah, that seems about right, I think. Okay, so that's actually enough to start spawning particles at that position. So I'm going to try doing that now. In our exhaust system in here. So this is just currently it's just drawing a character at that location. I'm going to leave that there because we might want to use that at some point. I don't know why it jumped up to there. Let me just undo that. I'm a bit worried that I did install IQ and get rid of those weird settings I had in my mouse. So. Hey, Chromus, welcome to the stream, dude. Okay, so for the particles to work, they need two things. They need a screen location to spawn at, and then a fine value, which defines the fine kind of shift up and down. So I'm going to use fine values of 0 for now, just to see where if the particles actually spawn. I'm going to set a delta so that they just shoot out of the back of the ship, and I'm not going to. They're only going to work to the left at the moment. So let's try and do that first. So I'm going to create a variable in here, and I'm going to call it next exhaust index. So this value is going to start at 0. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't need resetting. When we initialize the player, it can just be what it is. It's just going to cycle around, and this will be max. Let's make it a constant. Actually, let's do it in the constants file. So particles. Here we go. So let's do const max exhaust particles, and we'll do 6 for now. Okay, so what do we need to do? We need to set the particle at this index. Let me drag the particles over here so we can see the code. So this is the stuff we need to put in. We need the LSB and the MSB, which we already have in here. So that's as simple as doing this and storing that at, okay, we need to we'll load X with our next exhaust index. Let's put a little thing to say what we're doing. We're adding the particle here. So we're going to store that at particles. Oh, annoyingly, this is particle. Oh! Oh, I don't know how you managed to do that, but thank you very much, Hayes, for the gift sub. And old school coder, welcome to the subs. You have a little star next to your name now. Woo! Actually, that's unlocked a new emote for me as well. So thank you very much, Hayes. I'll have to have a think about what emote to add next. Okay, so we're just going to store the MSB and the LSB in the particle list like this. This is going to ensure that the particle appears. If the MSB is 0, it won't appear. That's how we remove it. But by adding the collision lookup, it's going to actually draw it to the screen at this point. I'm not going to set the fine X and the fine Y yet. And I'm not going to set the delta Y yet, but I am going to set the delta X. So I'm going to set this to be... actually, the delta X doesn't have fractional, but the delta Y does. That's unusual. It's probably for the gravity, I think. So I think I might need to work on that a little bit. Yeah, you're right there, Andy, I think. Bob emote. Yeah, that's not a bad idea, actually. That's not a bad idea. You need a head banging against a big Z80. Candy bean emote. Yeah. Hayes has mad skills. That's how. Mad Twitch skills. Hayes spends so much time in others' channels and has so many emotes collected that Twitch daren't deny Hayes anything. Okay, so I'm just going to set a delta X of -1 for now. So this is a little bit... I think I might need to play around with this and make it more fractional, because at the moment it's not. So I think I might need to just do some work on that. I won't do it now, though. I'll probably do it off stream. I might do it on the original particle code first, so you guys have got something to work with. I'm trying to treat this a bit like the Saturday game, in that I'm not going to do too much work, and like the Tuesday game as well. I'm not going to do too much off stream, but I may do the odd little bit, especially while I'm off. But I'll try and keep the bulk of the work, particularly the interesting work, to the stream. So, okay, so that should draw one single particle at this position. But the problem here is that it's going to constantly just use this index. So what I need to do now is I need to increase that and compare that to, what was it, max exhaust particles, like so. If it's not reached that, we go to here. Otherwise, we load X with 0, and then here we're going to store X at next exhaust index. Okay, that should be enough to fire some particles out. Now, this is going to fire one particle every frame. So what we're going to probably see is a line of particles move out, which is not correct. So we'll have to add some timing in there as well, which we'll do with we'll add another timer loop variable in. I think we've already got one. No, we don't actually. Okay, so okay, I'll add that in a second. Do need to keep an eye on my messages tonight. I'm waiting on some very important information. Don't waste them. Okay, interesting. I'm not sure what's going on there, but we are getting particles that kind of follow the ship. They should be coming out straight out of the back, though, properly. So let's just set that to 01 a sec. I just want to see if it's something to do with that value. It shouldn't be, because these were working when I just set all these values randomly. Let's see what happens. No, they're just moving that way now. Okay, that's bizarre. Hang on, let me just undo these values here. Let's have a look. So yeah, I mean, these should be fine. So what we should see now is it go kind of crazy with the particles again. but the ones coming out of the ship should stay the same. But it's kind of worrying because they shouldn't be any different to the crazy particles. Okay, don't know why that didn't there. Let's try again. So there you've got all the kind of flickery, crazy particles going around the screen. You can see as the particles reduce in number, this goes down. But then the particles coming out of here seem kind of all over the place. Because now they've got random... okay. Okay, so... Okay, let's try setting all the values up here. So... I mean, you shouldn't need to, really, but... let's set that to -2, so it's a little bit more. So delta y frat, find x and find y. And let's redo all of those. Could be a bug in the particle system here because it doesn't seem to advance properly for some reason. So firstly, they seem to have some kind of gravity thing going on, which they shouldn't have. And secondly, they don't seem to move into another character. They seem to be stuck in the character that they're in. Oh, wait, no, they're... Do they automatically have gravity that they shouldn't have? Have I not removed the gravity properly? Maybe that's what it is. If I... Hang on, let me undo those, but keep those as 0 here. So this should just spawn random particles everywhere, so... Oh yeah, look, they have gravity, so I need to get rid of that. They shouldn't have gravity. Okay, particles, here we go. I mean, it's very shit slow gravity, but they definitely have it. So this is the X movement. And this is the Y movement. Oh, clear the carry bit maybe here. Yeah, that's going to be it. Haha. 28,000 and you won somehow. Crazy luck, that's what it is. Okay, cool. So we've still got a problem in that the particles are not appearing out the back properly. So let's get rid of all these extra particles now. I'm going to leave those random because it's handy to have those in, actually. So at least now they're going to go straight, but for some reason they're not going very far. They're stopping. I just wondered, I might have added a fractional reduction in the X position, like a friction value. I can't remember. Or is it just that they're they're appearing and then being replaced. So maybe they're being replaced. Okay, so let's add a timer in. Okay, so we don't have a timer yet, so I'm going to do it in this section here. So this is where we're going to have increase. I don't know what to call this. I'm just going to call it a frame timer. And I'm going to put this in 0 page. It really doesn't matter what this value starts at, so I'm not going to do anything to initialize this value. It just needs to increment through. And then what I'm going to do in here is make sure that we only add a particle every other frame or so. Now, the reason I'm doing this and not exit is because there is going to be some extra information in here, which is probably going to be adding gravity to it. So I'm going to end it with 0.7, and if it's not equal to 0, then we're going to jump to add particle complete. So this should mean that we don't throw particles out all the time. So hopefully the particles should last a bit longer now. Well, 8 times longer in theory. Cool. So we've got a little particle trail. It's still a bit quick though, so I'm going to slow it down. I think it needs to be a bit slower than that. Oops. I just want to look at the rest time here as well. So we've got 6 particles that are always going to be on the screen. So yeah, that's fine, I think. Cool. So all we need to really do now is change the delta y for these. So in order to do that, we need to change the position that they spawn as well. So the fine x and the fine y actually need to be set based on. So I'm going to copy that, put it here. So these need to be set based on the actual position of the sprite. So there's going to be a bit of tweaking here to get this exactly right. So this value is probably going to be tweaked. For now, I'm just going to set the fine y. We'll do the fine x when we work out the direction stuff, because at the moment it's all just coming out of one side. Need to put Cecconoid in the race. That's not a bad idea. But then Cecconoid doesn't have anything special. I mean, it has a speed power up, but it doesn't really move that quick. So I like that haze. I do like the idea of having Bub in though. Bub could be my next emoticon, I think. Okay, so in order to set this value, what I'm going to do is I'm going to load. Where is it? This value here. And it with 7, and I'm hoping that will mean that this will adjust with the ship. Then we might just need to make some adjustments to position it exactly right. But I think this might work. Seems to be pretty good. It's following the ship pretty much spot on. So okay, so now we need to work out the x. So the y is not going to change. The y is correct here. You can see these are coming pretty much out of the ship. I might make a tiny adjustment to the position. But actually that's really not that bad at all. I think that's pretty good. The particles from little poo-poos just before you die. What we need to do now is we need to adjust the X, and we need to adjust the X based on whether we're facing this way or we're facing this way. Now, I don't know if we've actually got that set as a state anymore. I need to have a look. We probably should have that as a state, which we don't at the moment. So we probably need to start creating a player state thing in here. So let's do that. I'm going to keep that color toggling because actually, is the color toggle code still? Yeah, it is. All right. So let's put the player state right at the top. And let's create some player states here. So we'll call it face left. Face right. And for now, that's all we're going to have in the play state, but there'll be other ones in here as well. So we'll have things like power-ups in here probably and stuff. But when we init, we're facing to the right, I believe. So let's set that. Okay. So the direction we're facing is going to be adjusted here. So the accumulator has the value now of our X position. So what we can do, we can use, let me think how to do this. Okay, we'll transfer that into the X register for now. Then I'm going to load player state. And I'm going to AND that with, okay, and then if that is not equal to 0, then we're facing right. Otherwise, we're facing left. Oh, wow, I can't type properly at all. And face adjust, done. So what we need to do is if we're facing left, we need to change the value. So we need to put this transfer to the X register into the accumulator, and the same if we're facing right. So it's going to be the same on both sides. And then at the very end here, this is going to be a jump to face adjust, done. So if we're facing right, we probably need to, we're going to need to add a value to this. So I can probably, can I clear the carry bit? The carry bit should be clear. No, it might not be clear actually here. So I'm going to clear it here because it saves me having to do it twice here. So there's going to be two add values here, depending on whether we're facing left or right. So if we're facing right, I think it's just about 8 pixels across. Whereas if we're facing left, I think it needs to be a lot more across. Then while we're here, we may as well set up the value for our particle direction. So I'm going to use a G temp here. I'm going to set a, I'm going to call it I'm doing this so that I can read the code and make sense of it a bit easier. So likewise, if we're facing different directions, then the deltas are going to be different. So that should be that. So the delta, I'm going to use X to do this. So if we're facing left, then the delta needs to be positive. So I'm going to set it to O2, store that at particle delta X. And if we're facing right, then this would be negative. And then instead of setting this value down here, where is it? Delta X, we can just load that value now. And then the next step is going to be to set this value as well, so that the particles come out horizontally in the same position as well. So this is kind of the same as this. I'm just going to load. We only need the lower byte of this because we're only interested in the bottom 7 particles, bottom 7 bits, and then we're going to store that in the find value here. So hopefully now that should give us a pretty accurate thing. We might need to adjust some of these. Is 0 a player state? Yeah, well, no, because you're going to be either facing left or right. Actually, I'm not actually setting that player state either. That's a good point. So I need to do that now. So basically, when you pull left and right, it needs to set those values. So here's where we set the frame. So we also need to load player state, and we need to AND that with 255 minus. I mean, you shouldn't have both of these in anyway, but I'm just going to do it for simplicity. So this is left, so face left. Same in the right side. Yeah, so even though technically you can have 0 in there, it's not a proper player state. So in fact, we could use a single bit to do this state left and right. So you could just have facing left if it's either set or it's not set. Okay, there seems to be an error here. Player state. Okay, that should be there. Oh, I've done player underscore state. Don't know why I've done that, but fine. Fine, I'll go with it. Okay, so I'm just going to put some notes in here. Adjust to player fine Y. And adjust to player fine X. Hopefully that's all built. If this is working, I shall go for a quick break. I think it's probably going to need a bit of tweaking with the values. Okay, why is it all coming out of that side and not? Why is it all going that way? That's weird. Oh no, see we're doing, so I can't use that global temp here because we're using it here. So I'm going to have to create a temporary value here instead. So I'm not going to use 0 page for this. I'm going to try and not use 0 page where possible. Unless it's absolutely necessary, and I don't think it's necessary here. So there. I mean, we save like once. It's not in a loop or anything, so this is only happening once per frame. Can you make variables here if it's a cart? Yeah, because I'm not loading anything from ROM. So what my cart loader does is it copies from ROM into RAM. So everything is just treated like RAM as normal. But what will happen is it will bank in the memory from 8,000 to 8,000, and then it will copy that to where it needs to copy it to. But it will always be copied into RAM. Even if you copy it to 8,000, so you can copy it to the same location, and it will just copy to the RAM underneath the cartridge ROM. So you will never be running code directly from the cartridge, at least not at the moment. I can set it up to do that, but at the moment it doesn't need to. You do add with a positive number in both cases. I do add, but one of them is a negative number, so it should still work. Okay, I'm adding too much to the and too much on that side as well. That's because it's half values, and I've added whole values here. Oh, you mean these numbers here? Yeah. So this is the sprite position. So this is the horizontal sprite position. So I'm just trying to set where the offset is for the exhaust. It just needs to be reduced a bit. I think this needs to be like that. Yeah, I see what you say for it. I misunderstood what you said. Okay, so it's too much on that side, not enough on that. Too much on that side, and too much on that side actually. So let's reduce that down to 2. Let's reduce that down to 8. Keep pressing F7 instead of F8. I've got to remember that this is a cart compile, so. Okay, so it looks fine on that side. And as I move, it's kind of matching my movement there. On this side, it's moved too. Oh no, it's fine until. Okay. There comes a point where it moves inside a bit too much. So I think. Let's just have a look, because it's doing two things here. It's doing a sprite offset, and then it's using a find value to find. So that side seems all right. You can see the particles spawn at roughly the same position every time. But on this side, they spawn kind of inside the ship and then too far outside. So I just need to tweak that value to get it right on that side. So I'm going to start by well, I know I shouldn't add 0, but I'm going to add 0 anyway. I just want to see if it's that. Is this a cart? Yeah, it is going to be a cart. So yeah, that seems to work better. Okay. They spawn a little bit too far away from the ship, but I can live with that, I think. Let me slow it down. I'm trying to work out where they actually spawn here. Changing. That seems to be all right, actually. It's just on that side they spawn a little bit closer to the ship. So I'll see if I can move these across, maybe. Oh, actually, the trick here would be to add a value to. So if I add 2 here, and then I add 2. No. No, I'm going to leave it like that for now. I'm a bit worried that this might break. Let me try setting that to a higher value. I'm trying to get it even on both sides. It's got to feel right on both sides, or else. Nice use of emotes there. Steps, like it. Okay, seems to be stuck for some reason. Right, I tell you what, I'm going to take a quick break, guys. When I come back, we'll do this. I don't think we're going to get time to do the pew pew stuff tonight. I'm just going to keep working on the particles and kind of sprucing up a bit. I may do some optimization tomorrow, but I do kind of want to get this thing finished tomorrow, or at least ready to go for Saturday. We shall see, because I really want to get a load of levels built. I want people to start submitting levels. So I'm gonna probably try and get that done instead of all the code for now. All right, I'll be back in 5 minutes, guys. Be right back. All right, I'm back. Oh, the race is gonna come up again. Never mind. Where the hell did my 10? Oh, you lost points somehow. Need to gamble again then. Just go all in. Fuck it, go all in. Right, okay. So what I want to do is just check first that adjustment works on both sides. So you did. You went all in. I'm not sure. Can I see? I don't know if I can see through Streamlabs how your points get spent. I don't think I can. Oh, you did and lost. Oh man. Oh. Oh, it's on 20%. Yeah, that's kind of all right. I think the particles need to be a bit quicker at spawning. They're not spawning often enough. So that's just double the speed. I think we were right the original time. Now, the other thing we need to do now is add some delta Y to them, but randomly. So basically, oh, I need a random function. I don't actually have a random function in here, I don't think. No, I don't have a random function. Okay, let's create another file, call it utils. This is going to be what has all our things like random functions and stuff in. I've got a random function already, so I'm not going to try and write another one. I'm just going to load the game up and steal the random function out of that. No point rewriting it every time. Oh, there we go. Load that in. And then in the game loop, I need to initialize it. So I'll do it here. So at this point here, I'm not going to change the fractional value. I'm just going to change this value. First of all, I just want to see if I just do, let me set that to 0. And if I do what that's going to do. So this is just going to create two streams of particles, ones that are going down and ones that are going straight across. But then what we're going to do is we're going to add gravity to these, which is what we're going to do in this particle complete section here. We're just going to cycle through the particles and add a little bit of gravity to each one. I think we are going to need some extra stuff in here. Why did that not? Oh, this is utils.random, isn't it? Which makes that utils. Even if you win, you lose. Let's sit on a park bench and drink meths. No, there isn't. The thing is there isn't really any gravity, but you'll see in the game the particles kind of drop off slightly. So I need to kind of emulate that same thing. why it's not capital. I'll make it capital. It's easier than. It's a good point. There is gravity everywhere. It's just very weak in some places. So yeah, so it's pushing out in two different directions now. So actually, I'm going to just try setting the fractional value and see what happens. Because I think this is not going to work properly. I think I might have to work out the fractional side of the particles. I don't think I've done it correctly. So I'm going to do it like that. So let's do it like that. So in theory, we should see particles moving very slowly downwards in one stream. But I don't think it's going to. I think what we're going to see is particles moving in a complete straight line behind the ship. So yeah, so the fractional stuff is not working. So let's have a look at fixing that. It should be relatively simple, I think. So let's not worry about the X position for now. Let's worry about the Y position first, and let's figure that out. So we add delta Y to it. We don't actually add. I know what I'm doing here. Yeah, I know what I'm doing here. Okay, so I might be able to get around this. But I think. Yeah, it might need another value. God damn it. Problem with fractional values here is because I'm using screen addresses, this is going to be kind of awkward to get it to work and still be performant. So if I can figure a way out of making this work and retain performance without using fractional values, then I'll be all right. But So basically, if I do in here, if I just do this, so this is max exhaust particles -1, put it in square brackets, and we'll decrease entry plus to minus here. Oops. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to load this value here. And this is going to be our gravity constant-ish. I'm not sure if this is going to work right. I think I might have to figure out how to do fractional values with the particles. That's going to be a tricky one. Okay, I'm going to cheat this a little bit. Comma X. I want to try and cheat it as much as possible because I don't want to ruin performance. Adding fractional values into the particles is going to really hamper performance, so I need to be very careful about how I do it. What I can actually do to make this a bit more believable as well is if when we add the particle here, I'm going to store that here as 0, but then in this one here, I'm going to add this with 0f, I can add 4 to it, just a random number, add that to particles graph, comma x. Should make it a bit more randomized. Yeah, that I mean that's kind of what I need to do. I think what I do need to have fractional values, but I need to make sure that I'm dealing with them a little bit differently in here. The thing is even if I do it just by adding a random number of frames, like every 16 frames or so, then yeah, see some of these aren't falling at all now. Yeah, I think I need the fractional values, don't I? I mean, it doesn't look too bad when you move. When you stay still, they look weird. Also, the flashing is driving me mad, so I'm just going to turn that off for a second. Oh, wrong button again. Yes, I know, it's not going to load. Yeah, random is what I'm doing at the moment. So I'm using by changing increasing the delta y over time. It's changing the speed that they or when they start to drop. I think the problem is they need to start at a bit of a higher position as well, so they start dropping a bit sooner. So if I do that here, make this like that, should do it. But I think what I'm going to do is in the particle data down here, I'm just gonna create another fractional value in here. So I think that's what I'm gonna have to do. And that's gonna have to be responsible for that's why fractional, yeah. It's gonna have to increase a fractional value first, I think. It's the only way I can think of really doing this properly. So it's a slightly annoying way to do it, but I might have to. I'll try and implement that in a minute. Actually, yeah, I think I'm gonna have to. I can't think of another way of doing this properly. I'll do it on the Y first and see if it works, and because this is just not quite right. It's kind of sputtering out the back kind of incorrectly because the gravity is different on each particle, whereas it shouldn't be. It's just the initial position should be different and the gravity should be the same. Okay, let's do that then. So I've spent some time doing this, so yeah, I think I'm just gonna do that. I'm just gonna create frac X and frac Y as well. I mean, it's not ideal, but for the purposes of this, it will do. I'm trying to be efficient with the values as well. I don't want to waste too much time in the update routine. So this is the update routine, and this is where the fractional values get applied. So this is the X. Let me just create a thing for the Y movement so I don't get lost in it. So this is the Y movement here. So let's start with this. So this is where the stuff is happening. But what I should probably be doing here is actually, it's not going to be that many cycles extra. I think it should be all right. And it gets stored here. Okay. That might be enough to do it. That might be enough to do it. And that's not added that many cycles. So let's have a look. So that means now if I set if I don't set a different gravity for each one, so if I make the gravity consistent, let's make it 1, 0. Oh, let's make it really low. Actually, no, not too low, like that. And hopefully we should see these move. Set these both to 0. And just get rid of that chunk for now. Should get rid of that completely. Which means I can get rid of this as well. Let's have a look. Soft sprites, yeah, soft sprites rendered with chars, yeah. So it's using a dynamic system to work out. Is that actually working? Okay, the only way I can test this is by turning the gravity off for now. So I'll just put an RTS here and setting these to something fractional, like so. Yeah, so this is using a dynamic system. So it reserves 16 characters at the end of the character set. And then whenever it needs to draw particles, it works out where it needs to draw it. If there is already a reserved character there, it just draws it into that. If there's not, it puts the next one in the listing and draws a particle to it. When it runs out of 16, it stops drawing particles and it saves the next one for the next frame. So when's the Amiga version coming? I'm not sure. You want to code it? Yeah, you should. Andy, you should get Andy to do the Amiga version. So he's done 68,000 before quite a bit. He did the ST version of let me get this right, Stormbringer. So it'd be kind of cool to see that. Okay, cool. So it is actually using delta values now because you can see they are moving down eventually. So if I change this to that, they should move not at a 45-degree angle, but kind of less than that. I don't know what angle it will be. It'll be like 17-degree angle or something. Cool. That's much better. So now we can have fractional values in there. So that means what we can do is we can add some gravity each frame, and we can start the value with a random value in here. So I'm going to take this random and I'm going to put it here. And this is going to be our random starting value. So I'm going to AND this with 3F. So that's going to give us a value that's going to kind of vary it a little bit. And then we'll apply the exhaust gravity as well, which will be, let's start with that and see how that looks. We can adjust those values. Okay, it's a little bit too much. Is that because the initial one's too much or the gravity is too? I think the gravity is a bit high there, isn't it? Because it's drooping very quickly. So let's reduce the gravity a little bit. Actually, let's make this exhaust gravity. Let's make this an adjustable value in the constants file in here. Let's get some more wine in as well. It's a glass of wine. It's a big glass, so it should last. I don't know if they're moving too fast in that direction or they're spawning too quickly, but it just doesn't feel quite right. I'm going to slow them down, and I'm also going to slow the spawn rate down. I just want to get this feeling as close to correct as I can. So at the moment we don't have any fraction on the x, so we do need to sort that out at some point. For now, let's just get this working. Okay, that almost feels right, but I still feel like the exhaust gravity is too much. So I'm gonna really still seems. Hang on, is it the exhaust gravity or is it the initial delta? Maybe it's the initial delta. This thing here. Let's change it to that. Still drooping an awful lot. Let's change the gravity to 1. Wait, am I hang on, am I adding that to the right thing? Oh yeah, I'm adding it to the right thing, to delta fractional, okay. I think there might be a slight variance in the X speed as well, so I might add that fractional stuff in after all. I think I need to examine I think I've got the code for this, so I'll have to have a look at exactly what's going on, but it's kind of along the right lines. Let's add the X fractional stuff in. So that's in here. So we already did it for the Y, and it was quite simple in the end. So it should just be the same for the X as well. So I'm just going to copy that block, go to X movement, which is here. And now, do we have delta X frac? I bet we don't. No, we don't. Okay, so cool. So that means now we should be able to adjust the speed of it coming out of the back of the ship as well here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set so we're setting the delta Y frac here. I'm going to set the delta X frac as well, which is up there for some reason. Oh, that's because that's the direction it's going in. So all I need to really do here is a random. In fact, we can be sneaky here and do it like this. So we don't have to call that random twice. That's going to set random exhaust speed and a random Y. I'm going to put that up to 1F again. Oh no, that's gone all over the show, hasn't it now? Okay. Okay, that's not worked exactly as I wanted it to. Okay, let me set a 0 in here. Just make sure that the fractional. Oh wait, that should be delta x frac. That's why. Oops. Right, that might work a bit better. How to control PB? Yeah. And now it feels like some of them are way too slow in the X. That should be being set correctly in here. This bit here, particle delta X, particle delta X. Just checking here. Expose delta X frac. Store it here, yeah, and then add delta X. Ah, so this is where we get a problem with negative values. So because we're using carry here, if a value is negative, this is where it gets a bit tricky. So really this should be subtracting if it's negative. Okay, this is starting to get a little bit more frustrating, but I think it's a hit we can take. I think it is a hit we can take. I'm just trying to work out the best way to do this now. Oh, OBS Studio disconnects. Oh, I think that was just chat. Let me know if I'm still here, guys. Sake. Internet's gone down. Okay. Okay, we seem to be back, but I don't know what my speed is like. I can't even run. Well, speed test is running. It's showing 30 meg per second. So I mean, it's better than it was this morning, but it's still not great. It's enough to stream at least. Okay, that's not good though. I need to complain to them because I should be getting. It's because I'm doing a speed test, so it's stopped now. It should stop buffering now. All good. Thanks for the follow, by the way, Shrek361. If you're still around. Yeah, my sim contract changed at 12. And like I say, I mean, it's better than it was this morning when I tested the sim. I was getting 9 megabits per second this morning. I'm getting 30 now, which is still not great, but it's probably enough to stream. So my upload is only 7 up though, so hopefully it can handle that. I might have to drop my quality down until I figure out what's going on. I will be on the phone bitching to them tomorrow for sure. Yeah, I'm in a flat. I do. Yeah, I don't get a choice. Sorry, I can get a wired internet provider, but I can only use Sky, and they're absolutely terrible. As people will know, when megabits, yeah, sorry, yeah, megabits, not megabytes. Yeah, I'll do some tests tomorrow. So, seems hello, my name's Steve. How can I help? Okay, so the problem we've got now is we're adding a fractional value that can be positive or negative, and we're only using add to do it. So what we need to do here is we actually need to change this routine to check something first. So first thing we're going to check is this value here. So if this value is positive, then we can jump to here, which will be oh god, so we've already got a pos here, so I'm going to call it pos adjust, which is this one, and then neg adjust here. Now I'll have to do this on the Y as well, but for now I'm just going to get it all on X. So if that is negative, then I need to go to neg adjust. Otherwise, I'm going to do this, and then at the end, jump to adjust on. Now this is going to use an extra 8 cycles or so, plus the jump here, which is 3, so like an extra 11 cycles per particle, which is not ideal, but I'm a network architect. Can I help? Yeah, get around here and sort out the 5G maths. I can only imagine that they've switched to a different 5G network completely. I'll have to do some investigation on what my IP shows up as. I'm pretty sure they've changed to a different 5G network, so it's probably connecting to another mast. So the mast that I was using was just over the road, so it was one of the little kind of repeaters, but it was enough that I could connect to it fairly kind of solidly. I'm glad that SIM card has just worked, which is a relief. But yeah, kind of. Oh no, it says 5G. It says 5G on the box, so just get internet. No, I can only get Sky, and it's absolutely terrible. Sky is worse than this. Way worse than this. Hey, Cosmin, straight in the stream, start gambling. Love it. Yeah, unfortunately, my only option is Sky. No, not for me. It's not. It's absolutely awful. Because the thing is, as well, is we share a kind of building router sort of thing. So my internet isn't directly from Sky to my box. It's through some kind of thingy router. It also costs a lot more as well. Like, yeah, so Chromus, my 5G costs £29 a month. And my Sky was like 60 or something because I had to get unlimited and all that. It just wasn't worth it at all. But there are other 5G options as well. So Vodafone, EE, and there's one other as well. I can't remember what the other one is. But there are other options that I can use. So I'm not completely lost here, but I'll be very annoyed with them if it can't maintain that 300 or 400. Anything over 100 would be good, but at the moment 30 is just not acceptable. Yeah, 29 is cheap. 29 is very cheap. Okay, now they're all going the wrong way. So they're fine that way, but when it's positive. Okay, so this neg adjust is wrong for some reason. This doesn't work. No, because now. Oh, now this is actually inverted. So. Oh my god, this is frustrating. Okay, so if I want to add negative numbers, how do I do that? Because that's what I need to do here. So that's the problem. Fucking hell, this is really frustrating. I think I need easy 6502. Don't know. That's going to be the easiest way to do this. So this is a site I use. It's a really good tutorial site as well. If you guys don't know about it, it's a good site for learning to code. But it's also got a really nice sandbox in it for testing 6502 stuff. So what I want to know here is if I've got a number. So say I've got 0, 0, 0, right? And I want to subtract 40 from it. Now, this is the number this is what I'm doing currently. I'm going to transfer that to X, and then this is the upper byte. So this is what I'm doing currently, and this is why it's wrong. Because this is minus 40, basically. FFC0 is minus 40. But the result I'm getting at the end is... Oh, I am getting 40, but I'm not getting minus on here. So it's almost like I need to... Wait. Oh, because the carry's been cleared here, so it's not actually subtracting this. So maybe I do need to then subtract 1 at the end. Maybe that's enough to do it. No, because that gives me the wrong value as well. No, because I don't always want to subtract 1 from this. This is... I mean, that gives me the right... No, it doesn't give me the right value, actually. It should be FFC0. Ah, fuck, okay. Yeah, you had this problem letching ladder. It is a pain in the ass. No, I can negate that number, but then this is even more cycles I'm adding just for particles going in that direction, which is frustrating. Yeah, two's got... Yeah, that's what I'm thinking to do, but it's really not ideal at all. So the problem is that when I when I do this, I've got to do it in a very efficient way because this is happening in the particle update. So this has to be super efficient. So what was originally doing was this. I was doing an add of that value. So this is the negative value here. So let's transfer that to X. Let's add that here. Oops. And that does create the right value, but it's only creating the right value because there isn't an overlap here. So if actually it's yeah, so if this was 60, for instance, right, or 80, the value I should see on this side is 0040. But what I am seeing that. What the hell? What the hell? Okay, let's try this. So I'm now trying to subtract C0 from this. So I should see FF FF40, and I'm seeing FFC0. Oh wait, no, that's right as well. Wait, this looks right. Why does this look right all of a sudden? Okay, this seems weird because it feels like this should work. So let me just comment that out. Just do another check on this. Because that looks like that should work according to Easy6502 there. But I don't think it is working. I need to figure out what the edge case is that breaks it and then duplicate that. See, they're moving very differently that way to the other way. So this is a positive addition. And this is a negative addition. And you can see it kind of starts off all right, and then it goes a bit weird. So we're ignoring the Y here. We're just looking at the X. And the X is all right until it's really low. And then when it's really low, it seems to get confused. Yeah, I kind of want to make it work this way somehow. I need to figure out what the edge case that's breaking it. So let's have a think about this. So let's run through some cases here. So let's start with a value of 0 in both of these and see what happens. So FF40 is that right? Yeah, that is kind of right at that point. If I add 1 to that, FF41, that's also right. So what if this is really low, like that? 00, that's correct. 100. So why is it suddenly? Because if you look, the particles at some point end up with no X movement whatsoever. Is it just the values I'm putting in? Because this feels like it should work. The values coming out the other end are looking correct. Let's think about the carry here, right? So yeah, this would cause a carry to be set, which means this would add 0. So whether or not the carry's set here doesn't matter, but we do care if it's set here. Let me just make this bigger. So that does set the carry, whereas this doesn't set the carry. but the values that are coming out of this side are correct. Okay, I'm starting to think maybe it's something else. Maybe it's my adjustments in here that are wrong. So particle delta x is the value that we set here, and that's either negative or positive. Right, that's fine. Let me try changing that to F2 and FE. So 2 and FE. See if we still get the same problem. It might just be more apparent because... fucking hell, that is it as well. Okay. Yeah, the routine is fine. The routine is fine. So the problem is I'm setting a speed value. I'm setting the upper byte to be either 1 or FF, depending on which way I'm going, which means I've either got a value that's at least 1, or on this side at least 0, because if you have FF, it's almost 0, right? Whereas on this side, 1, 0, 0 is 1. So the two relative speeds are different. So the particles going to the right have a minimum speed of 1, but the particles going to the left have a minimum speed of 0. So in order to balance that out, all I need to do is change that to 1 and keep this on FE. And then the minimum speed here is FEFF, which is almost 0. So yeah, I think the maths was correct. It was just I was treating this as a minimum speed of 1 when it was FF, when actually the minimum speed is almost 0. So which is why we see that. So this should work fine now. They should look the same on both directions, more or less. Oh, wow. Wow, that was a crazy race. If I saw that correctly, Mayhem almost crossed the line and then Dot came in at the last minute. It was a very unfortunate race for anybody that bet on Mayhem. There we go. That's better. It matches on both sides. Perfect. Yeah, I was thinking that seemed a bit wrong because the maths should still work because it doesn't care. It doesn't care if the numbers are positive or negative. It's just that negative numbers should still work the same way. There are definitely some cases where this isn't the case, and there are some cases where you do need to do something different for positive and negative. But for this, it works absolutely fine. So, and those particles look pretty much spot on now. Yeah, they look pretty good. Okay, cool. And hopefully, if I go close to something, they should disappear, which is going to save us particle space. They are going to appear behind enemies, though, which we need to figure out priority. But for now, this is looking pretty decent. Took a bit longer than expected, but that's all right. Time for more wine, yeah. Didn't recognize our bets. Did not save our bets. Oh, did it not do? And maybe I need to let me restart the overlay because the internet went down. So let me refresh the overlay. Hang on. I'm going to go for a quick break in a second. And when I come back, we'll don't know what we'll do next. Actually, I think maybe we can apply the player collision as well, as soon as we've got the collision routine in. Yeah. All right. Let me just refresh that page. How do I do that now? Is it that one? Okay. Overlay refresh. Last of Us 2, yeah, maybe I could play some Last of Us 2. I do need to finish that game. It's just really fucking annoying me now that it's Abby. Wow, that's not loading at all, is it? The overlay. Okay, let me maybe the server wasn't working. You want to see all those sprites spinning in a circle? Do you know what? I took the code out to do that. Do I have? Yeah, I took it out, I think. Hold on. Right, let me restart the races. Hopefully it should recognize your bets now. You will learn to love her. I don't want to learn to love her. Yeah, I've taken that out, unfortunately. Sorry. I'm not going to write that in now. I will have sprites bouncing around the screen soon anyway, so right, let's see if it's actually recognizing it. I don't see them appearing at the bottom though. I know it has. There you go. Oh, wow. Bit of lag on it. Will I pick up the remastered? I don't think it's remastered. I think they're literally just well, I mean remastered in that they've released it on Switch, but it looks like they're just releasing the original versions, basically just running on new hardware. I think there's a director's cut of 2 of the versions, but it's like Super Turrican and Mega Turrican. It's like 2 of the worst versions. So I'm quite disappointed with that. Actually, I was looking forward to that. I think that recognised the bets then. Right, I'm going to take a quick break. When I come back, I'll have a think what to do next. I'm not sure what to do next. All right, okay, back in 2 minutes, guys. Be right back. Right, I'm back. It's bloody cold out there, which is nice actually. Keeps this room cool. It's my temperature now. Yeah, very reasonable 21. Which is what it should be, not the 32 or whatever it was last week. Okay. I don't know what to do now. Okay, so we don't need that. So, but actually, oh no, it's fine. Okay, is the race awarding points now? No one bets on Mayhem anymore. Pew pew. Yeah, I guess I could start looking at that. Probably won't take that long to do actually. Let's open up the character set for it. Let's have a look. At the very least, I can get the core of it in place. Oh, the collision might be the thing to do actually, but let me put the characters in for the pew pew. Okay. So this one. Yeah. Okay. So these characters down here are going to be reserved by the particles. So I'm actually going to fill these in with something like that, just so I can tell that they're being used. Oh, I don't know why I didn't copy them all. There we go. So these are particles. I can't mess with those. Basically, the way the system is going to work is as follows. There's going to be half of the character set is going to be for the screen that you're on currently. So I'm probably going to reserve 100 characters or so. Let's say 112, right? So that's up to here, basically. And then up to here is going to be the next screen that you go into. So whichever screen you go into, the characters for that screen are going to be loaded from the cartridge into this area on the fly, so that we can do the scroll across and get the scrolls happening between the two screens. Mayhem seems to win less than half the time. Yeah, I did do a Monte Carlo simulation of the race. I've got all the results for that. He is slightly less. I think it's like 47% or something like that. So, um, we need some characters for the for the HUD as well. Uh, do you feel retro computer programming is the best way for someone to learn programming for people who don't trust magic? Like JavaScript runs on this magic browser that was current series compiler, magic compiler, compiles for magic machine code. Um, it's hard to say. I personally believe that knowing assembly is very, very useful for learning other languages. Um, However, it's so learning the assembly language itself, so learning these instructions is not difficult, and what they're doing is very simple. There's just a few kind of values that you can move around and you can store in memory or you can retrieve from memory. The problem comes from the hardware itself. So learning the hardware is the tricky bit. Learning to write an assembly, not too bad. And as I say, the site that I was just testing uh, my code in, this I'll put a link to in the chat, is a really good way to learn 6502 just generally. But if you want to apply that to a machine, you're going to have to learn what the different memory addresses do on the machine. So that is where the complication comes from retro programming. Some machines are easier than others. I think the Commodore is relatively easy, but it does have some stuff that makes it a little bit unusual. So like the multicolor mode, for instance, or the way that the hardware scrolling works. It's a magic when you know how logic gates work in your CPU. Yeah, exactly. So and really that's all you're really doing with assembly is you're just working with those logic gates as close to the hardware as possible. Um, that being said, I wouldn't say it's the easiest thing to learn, and I'm going to hate myself for saying this, but I think Python is probably the easiest one to learn. Um, just because it's more kind of beginner friendly, I think. I mean, you can go very in depth with Python, obviously, but if you've not done any coding before, it's probably a good starting point. The problem with JavaScript is it's got a lot of baggage with it. So it's very easy to learn really, really terrible things in JavaScript. So um, you think Python is hard, it feels like magic. I mean, give it a try. There's nothing to say learning assembly isn't possible, and that's kind of what my streams are about. I've got a couple of videos on YouTube that you can take a look at. Let me link my YouTube in here. Hopefully it's linked up. Yeah, there you go. You can check out my YouTube channel. There are some kind of beginner introductions to assembly in there that might be of use to you. But what I would say is if you want to learn assembly, pick one machine and just start with that. Just try and learn that machine as much as possible. Because it is the hardware that is going to be the problem. It's not going to be the language itself, especially 6502. 6502 is probably one of the easiest of the assembly languages. But yeah, the problem with, as Chroma says there, the problem is with the problem with assembly is you have to learn what all the different numbers do. So you can create kind of labels for things. So like I've got labels all over the place here, and these are used for kind of various things. But you don't have to use labels like this. You can use direct addresses. So if I want to change the color of the border, I would do this like that. And this is the memory address for the border code. So you're probably used to seeing this on the Commodore 64 or something like that. And this is doing the same as this. This is the basic version. This is the assembly language version. This number here is just this number here. This is just the hexadecimal version. You learn to start using hexadecimal instead. So but yeah, just it does come. Just practice it. Start simple. Just do things like write your name on the screen, then change the color of it, then see if you can get it to change color constantly. um even something as simple um as that, which is 3 lines of code, one of which is a label, will flash the border all different colors as if you load in a game or whatever. But understanding why that does that will give you a step up, and you'll already kind of be thinking about it a bit differently. But what my YouTube videos do is they try and talk you through how the very basics of assembly language work. So you should self-publish a book on C. I did want to do that. The thing is I spent so long doing those PDFs, and they went out of sync so quickly with the stream. They become very, very hard to do. So I would like to do it at some point, but I'm just not. I just don't have the time at the moment to do that. To be honest, the only reason I'm doing anything is because of the stream. Without the stream, I wouldn't be doing anything. So I need the motivation. But yeah, I would like to do it one day. But and I mean, the PDFs that I have are probably a good start. And if I was to take those and rewrite them for something that was a very simple game instead of trying to follow the Saturday stream, which is the mistake I made. I think I tried to write an accompaniment to the stream, and what I should have done was picked a very simple game idea and just made that work. Yeah, Old School Coder's got some stuff as well. You could check him out. He's got Mayhem absolutely killed it then. He's got some good tutorials and stuff as well. So okay. Do you know what? I might just play Last of Us. I think I'm done with this for tonight. Let's just see where do we get to. So we've got the particle system working now, and it's using fractional values. It's using dynamic updates so it doesn't flicker when there's less particles. Yeah, this is kind of all right, I think. It's a bit of progress. It took a bit longer, but don't do too much. I need to catch up now. So you're going to be doing it then, Andy? I hope you do. Are you going to go for the Amiga version then? That'd be really cool. I mean, you've got a nice advantage there in that the Amiga should be able to do all of this no problem. You shouldn't need to use any crazy trickery or anything, I don't think. It's flick screen, so you don't have to worry about scrolling. It's got enough power to handle the sprites and the particles, I think. So code along with Shalan. Okay, yeah. So I think we'll do the directional shooting on the next stream, and maybe the collision as well. In fact, you know what? I don't even feel like playing Last of Us, unfortunately. Sorry, guys. Feeling quite tired. So I think I'm just going to call it a night here. But thank you for coming along, guys. I'm going to find someone to raid, and then I'm going to go and furiously test my my internet connection. Who's on? Hungry's on. Clippers playing Mega Man again. My God. Moonbeam's on. Amiga's retro gaming is on. Let's go and have a look what Hungry's playing. Yeah, let's raid Hungry, I think. Yeah, no problem, most good coder. Good to see you all here as usual tonight. Thanks for joining. We will you missed out on your SID. I don't see a SID in the list. We will continue with this Saturday stream. I'll try and get the editor done by Saturday. I do want to test it fully though, so if it's not if it's not ready by Saturday, it's not ready. I'll do my best, but no promises. But we're getting there. All right, let's go and raid Hungry now then, and I'll see you guys on Saturday. Thanks for coming, guys. Take care.